I know you said you had gas, you know, if you hadn't eaten 10 burritos, never mind, we're recording. Okay, this is yeah, okay. Anyway, this is it's issue 26 of the Fast and Furious Dodge Charger RT model, and you know, build your own kind of thing from Fanhome. If you want to get your very own model like the one I'm doing now, I will try to put the link down in the description or down at the bottom of this video. I'm going to try to figure out how to do that because I've never done that before, so that's going to be fun in editing. But yeah, if you want to get your own, I'll give you a link to Fanhome's website, and you'll be able to get your own and sign up for it. It is a subscription, so, which I think I've already made that clear already, so I don't know why I keep repeating myself. But anyway, yeah, let's get to it. Okay, as you can see, this is issue 26. I looked in the book a little bit ago, and I believe this is probably going to take me a little bit longer to do compared to the other stages. This is probably going to take me a little longer because I see a lot of parts that have to go together, and we may get to pull out some of the other previous parts that we did in the previous kits and get to start attaching stuff to those. So here's some more stuff in the movie content, characters, things like that. So, you know, I have not read any of this stuff at all. One day, you know, maybe after the model's finished, I will try to go back and read these articles, which might take a little bit of time. But I do like I do like muscle cars. Which reminds me, as we're getting into this, let me finish this first, and then I'll get to what I'm saying. Okay, in this, we're looking like we're going to be using AP screws and LM screws. I see another two, but probably going to have a stiffening wire added to it. Maybe those two. Just depends on how. Well, they're supposed to be brake lines, so. But they call this one, they call it a front right brake pipe. What they mean, a brake line, not a pipe. I mean, when you're working on a car and you're working on a brake system, it's usually called brake lines, not brake pipe. I don't know. Then you got 3 hoses, which are those. I'm assuming these are going to go to the front calipers. I'm just guessing at that, so we'll see if I'm right when I look in the book. But yeah, here's a lot of steps in this one. Well, it looks like we're working on the master cylinder, or basically the whole braking system, I think. And we're pulling out the firewall again and attaching it to the firewall when we get that part done. And then we get to attach the right and left fenders to the firewall. Okay, and then it looks like we're attaching some brake lines to. Oh, we get to pull that back out again and attach the brake lines to it. Camera, there we go. Okay, so we get to pull that out again and attach the brake lines to the calipers. So that's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to have to use tweezers on that one. When it's all done, this is what you're going to be left with, is that and that. So, okay, close-up of some bearings. Okay, how to choose a bearing. Okay, different types of bearings. Interesting. It might have it might just be basically car facts and all that stuff inside these articles. Some of it may deal with the magazines, but it might have something to do with cars too. And I get another set of tweezers in this kit. I see a lot of parts. Kind of makes me nervous. Alright, so yeah, we'll get to it. In this step, they want us to assemble the mounting brackets to the master cylinder. Now, there is a certain way that these have to go, and according to the illustration. Okay, this part here is 26B, That's how they're labeling them in the magazine, so that's what they're showing. Okay, there's this one. It has to go up like this, and this part is 26A, and it has an open end on one end, and on the other it is closed in, boxed in. The open end goes towards the pointed end of this, so it has to attach just like that. I hope I'm putting it in there right. Looks like it might be. Okay. Alright, just kind of put it in. I'm not sure if that's right. But it says to put it. Well, that's the way it says to put it in, but I see a gap in there. You see that? Looks like it would fit in there like this. If you do it that way, but that wouldn't be the right way to do it. Looks like it has to go like this. But I don't know if that's the right way or not. And let me look through the instructions real quick to make sure I'm not doing this upside down. Okay, I'm back. I had to look at the instructions a little closer because the illustrations are kind of confusing. Okay, so alright, as I was showing, it shows it a little different in the book, but okay, anyway, you're holding this part like this. There is a little tab right here, right? Alright. Now, on this, you know, this part here is supposed to attach to the firewall on that side. So this part with the open end is pointing up, well, towards this triangle part, right? So this little tab is supposed to go in that hole right there. Just like that. So it should look like this. So when you put it together. Now they want it held together with one AP screw. So we're going to attach it together. Just make sure that you look at your pictures very, very closely. You know, all the pictures that are shown in the illustrations, all that, you know, for different parts, to make sure you're attaching it the correct way. But the illustration I was looking at, it was a little confusing. So just kind of snug it. It stops turning. Alright, so it should connect itself with that little tab. It should look like that. So if that makes any sense. Should look a little bit like that. And the triangle part, you know, and then the bracket that mounts to the firewall. You see that part there. Alright, so it's a little hard to see it because of the background. So, but there's that part. Alright. Next step. Alright, in this section they want us to, they call this a brake vacuum servo. Alright, so this is only going to go one way. If you look at the back of it, you have this little keyway, or key. You got a wider key here, and you got a narrow key here. If you look on this other part, there's a narrow keyway here, a wide keyway there. That goes together. Okay, so they're calling this 26C and 26D. So basically you just put the key parts together, line them up, and they will fall into place like that, and that's the only way they'll go. Alright. Now they want you to hold this together with an AP screw. Like so. Okay, snug. It's not loose or anything. Okay, now the next part they want us to do is attach the mounting bracket to the master cylinder, or let's see, they call this a master cylinder. Mounting bracket for the master cylinder to the brake vacuum servo. Okay. Yeah. Alright. Now you want it to be held together with two AP screws. So we're going to get 2 AP screws out. Now, if you want me to show any mistakes or anything instead of cutting some of them out, if you want me to do that, make sure you let me know in the comments down below. Alright. So on this, so we're making sure that we're not upside down or anything. Okay, so this is going to attach to the master cylinder. Alright, so you see this little keyway looking thing here, right? You're going to match it with the keyway that's, or the key hole here. So these are only going to go one way. So you just kind of hold it in there together and it locks in. Now they want you to attach 2 AP screws. And we got one that's going to go right here. Snug it down. Looks like I'm going at an angle, but okay, that's one, and then you grab the second and you attach that to the other hole on the back. It's probably going to go in at an angle. Snug it until you feel it snug. You don't want to over tighten. Sometimes some screws will keep turning and some don't, so be careful when you're doing that. Okay, there's that part. Next step. In this section, you want us to take the reservoir cap and they want us to attach it to the brake fluid reservoir. Just make sure you line them up with the profile. You can see it's only going to go one way, the curvature of that and then that. So there's also a little peg in there. It's going to line up with that little groove right there. Just kind of line them up like that. And then they want you to hold it together with an AP screw. And it's going to go in the bottom. That, and there's the brake reservoir with a you think they would have went through the detail of actually putting, you know, the little what do they call that thing, the little retainer that goes over that in the actual car. That would probably been, I'm sure there's a mod out there, somebody's probably going to mod a little thing that goes over that, like a piece of wire going over it. I'm not going to do that, but if you want a little bit more realism and you want a mod, that's just an idea. If you want to put that little holder hanger that goes over that, you can. Just drill a tiny hole here, drill a little tiny hole there, and just kind of stick it on there with some rigid wire kind of thing. I'm not doing that, but just a thought. Alright, next step. On this step, they want us to take the what are they calling this again? Okay, they want us to take the brake fluid reservoir and they want us to attach it to the brake vacuum servo. I thought this was the master cylinder on the car, or brake booster. Like you'd have the master cylinder. Actually, no, this is supposed to be like the master cylinder reservoir. No. Okay. This is supposed to be like a brake booster. I think that's the master cylinder. Well, they usually, like on the General Motors, you have something like this. They call it brake booster. Then you have your reservoir, which is actually your master cylinder kind of thing. But they're calling this a brake reservoir and a servo. Okay. All right. Anyway, this is only going to go one way because there's a little pin right there that's going to go in that hole. So it's going to go like that, and they want you to attach it with 2 AP screws. So we're going to get this started. Okay, just snug those up. Be careful not to over tighten. Okay. Alright. That's starting to look like something now. It's sticking out there a good ways. But okay. Next step. Okay. Now they want us to bring out the firewall again, because we get to attach the brake assembly, or should I say the okay, we'll say this a master cylinder assembly or whatever. The brake reservoir. Okay, it's going to go on here one way, the way it's shaped. It's going to follow the contour of the firewall in these two holes. So you're just going to line it up like that. And if you had four hands, you might be able to hang on to this a little better. So with it lined up like that, and you're going to take 2 AP screws and you're going to attach it to the firewall. Okay. I will zoom out a little bit because now we're getting into the bigger pieces and it's causing a little bit less room on the camera in view. Okay. Okay. Alright, there's that. That's what it's looking like so far. Alright. Now, next step. In this little section, they're wanting us to take the fender that has the battery box attached to it and the firewall. We're going to join them together with 3 LM screws. So there's 3 mounting spots, 3 holes, going one here, one here, one here. Same on this one. And they want you to line them up. And of course that battery cable is going to be in the way. Maybe. Alright, so they want you to line the hose up. I'm going to try to line up the center hole first, and that might help me line them up the rest of the way. So we're going to do it first, and then we'll worry about the others. Just lightly turn to get it started, but don't tighten it up all the way just yet, because we still got to maneuver the top and the bottom hole. It does seem to make it a little easier with the way they're showing in the illustration, is to turn your fender like this, where it's sitting that way, and your firewall like this to actually get the screws in, see, because they kind of line up that way better. It's a little bit easier to line the hose up better, a little easier. Okay, we'll try to get that lined up where it needs to go. We'll get this one in next. If we can get the hose lined up. Like so. Okay. And now the top one should already be lined up, I hope. And we may have to maneuver a little bit to make that line up. Okay. Now we can tighten them in all the way, now that we got all 3 screws started. Okay, there's that one. And there's that one, and then one more. pulls everything together nice and tight. Hopefully I didn't strip the hole out on this. Good, it's tight. Okay. When it makes me nervous when they keep turning and you don't know if they're actually grabbing until you feel that little bit of a bite towards the end when it finally tightens up, and then it works out. Okay, now with assembly setting like this, they want us to grab the other fender and do the same thing to attach it to the other side of the firewall. So we need 3 more LM screws, and it is metal, so we're going into, so we're going to need 3-in-1 oil. It makes them cut the threads a little easier. Okay, we're going to position this so I can get to it because I am right-handed, I'm not left-handed. Okay, got 3 holes in the right side fender. Got that hole, this one, and this one to line up with the holes in here. Now you just do like with the other one, you just kind of line them up. And I'm going to do like I did the last one and start in the middle. Get that one started. So it helps hold the fender in place so it doesn't move around too much. We'll grab the next screw. Just a little bit of 3-in-1 oil. Don't overdo it with the oil. It will get messy. Now I can't hardly see where the hole is on this one. So in this case we're going to do this one first. Get it started. Okay, starting to cut new threads. And we stop. And we'll grab the next screw. Lightly. Okay, now we try to get this bottom hole to line up. There we go. It just went in. You just tighten it up. Hopefully it doesn't keep turning and then stripping out the hole like it did on the engine block on one of those screws, if you remember, if you go back a few videos on that. Okay. Now this part is, compared to the next part I'm fixing to do, this is a piece of cake. But the next part looks like it's going to be a little hectic. Okay, there's the firewall and the fenders assembled. And we'll have to figure out what to do with the battery cable, so we'll leave it like that for now. There's what that's looking like so far. Well, we're getting mighty close to being able to put that on the frame of the car. That's looking really good so far. I like that. And that's got some weight to it. Well, when I add it onto the rest of the car, it's really gonna it's really gonna be a little hefty. Okay, now I gotta, well, it ain't time for that yet. Okay, we gotta go ahead and go to the next step. Okay, this step is a little bit, maybe a little tedious now. I'm not sure if I want to stiffen these up yet or not. You see how it kind of bounces back kind of thing? It may need that for hooking this up, but then again, if I don't like the way it looks when I hook it up, I'm going to put that wire in it. So, alright, what they want us to do is, you got 3 of these short pipes, or tubing, and they want them connected into this connector, or attached to it. So, we're going to, they want you to lay it down like this, where you have like 3 pins on this side, you got 1 on the bottom, 2 on the right. Alright? Alright, so they want you to attach, let me zoom in on this. Okay, they want a hose attached to that one, not that one, but they want one on this bottom one on this one, and then the longer one gets put here. So I'm going to attach it like so, again, if I have to, I will put some stiffening, or should I say, I'll put in some of that wire into the hoses to make them stiffer. So these are brake hoses. Okay. Make sure it's in all the way. Alright, that's one. The next one. I have to go into here. Divided. Just push it on all the way. Okay, I'm doing it off camera, not realizing it. Sorry. Bend it down a little bit so you can see. Camera's not really wanting to stay where I want it to go. Alright. So I'll put that on there like that. Okay. The other one ain't on all the way. Go. Okay, now the next one. Now these three hoses are exactly the same size, so just in case you want to know. Now this bottom peg is where this last one goes. And so far, so good. Just kind of wiggle it on there. And I may have to shorten this in the, should I say, I may have to shorten the video a little bit when I'm doing the editing. Okay. Still not on all the way. Okay, now it is. Alright, there's the three, and now you got this real long one. It's going to have to go on this one. And as I said, if I have to, I will put some wire inside the tubing if I have to, if I want to stiffen it up a little bit. But we'll see how they lay out on the car when it comes time for that, and make that decision at that time. So right now I don't know if it really needs that tubing in, or the wire in it. I have to see how it lays out and whether or not it's going to go the way I want it to go, or I'm going to have to put a piece of wire in it. I don't know yet. Okay, there's that. So you got one long wire coming off that side, and then you got the three short ones coming off this one, and this one. So it should look like that. Looks like a little bit of a mess. It looks like a spider, but you know, there's that. Now this next step, I have to grab. I got to grab the assembly, you know, that's got the engine and the frame and the wheels on it. I gotta grab it because we gotta attach this to it. So be right back. Okay, this is gonna be one of those tedious moments. That's probably gonna be nerve-wracking. All that nice stuff, right? According to the illustration, we need to attach this to this little peg right now. If I can point it out, you see that little peg right there I'm touching? Right down, that little bitty peg right there. Yeah. Yeah, right there, I'm pointing at it. I don't know if the camera can pick it up or not. There's a little peg down there. I'm pointing at it right there. We have to attach this with the tweezers, and it has to go in that hole right there. Oh joy, I'm kind of dreading this. Okay, so as usual, if it won't stay in there, I'll have to glue it. So I'm gonna attempt this on camera. I don't know how it's gonna go. If it doesn't go too well, I will definitely be doing this off camera. So we're gonna give it a shot. Give it a go, and see how we can get it on here. And these hoses are probably going to be in the way, so we're going to pull them through. I guess that's the reason why I don't want to really put wire in them yet, if I have to put wire in them. It's going to be one of those things. So I guess you have to route the hoses down. Put the connector on the pin, left side of the front section of the chassis. At the same time, guide the 4 hoses attached to the connector down between the chassis and the engine so they come out the other side. So we also got to get the hoses down between the chassis and the engine while we're also trying to put this on that peg. That's awesome. So yeah, looks like it's one of those things. Okay, so we're gonna have to tweezer this through here. Alright. So this is probably going to be the most nerve-wracking, even though it looks like it would be easy. It looks like it's going to be the most aggravating part of the build, it looks like. So how okay, we can get that through there. Now we gotta get pull that through, but we also get these other hoses through there too. So it's through the chassis in between the engine. Okay. Guess we'll have to figure that out when we get to it, right? Okay. This has got to go down in there. This bottom hose, I guess they want it to stay right here, and then they want this top one to go down in the frame too. This probably, yeah, or no. Okay. This is going to be, like I said, going to be one of them little bit of a nerve-wracking type thing. So trying to get this in there is going to be a little bit of a pain. Get that in there. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Alright, let me do this off camera before I waste space on the phone. Okay, that was a wrestling match. And okay, so basically what they want us to do when you're putting this little piece in there and attaching it to that peg right there, they want you to kind of push the wires in there, I mean the hoses, and just kind of tuck them in there anywhere you can in between the frame and the engine. And then once you do that, you kind of push this up in there like that, up against that peg, which I'm not sure if I can get it to stay on that peg the way it's doing right now. I'm trying to get it up against the frame as best I can, but it's not really wanting to go up against it. I mean, well, actually, if I push a little harder, maybe it'll work. Oh, there it goes. Okay, now it's on there. Alright, so, yeah, that little connector right there is a pain in the butt to get in there. But anyway, it's in there, like that. And then they want you to flip the frame over and then grab the hoses and pull up the other, from the top side. So, we'll do that now. Next step. Okay, this next little step, they want us to take one of the brake lines and they want us to run it, or brake hoses, and they want us to run it to that little, peg it's inside the caliper. There's a little peg right there to take a hose. So the only one I can actually get the route that far, the one that actually reaches will actually reach it, would be this one. And you kind of route it over the top of the A-frame, and you kind of route it down here to it. So I'm going to turn this way so you can see. But basically you're going to grab it and you're just going to attach it to it if you can. If it's going to, looks like it's going to be a pain to get it on there. Alright. Okay. So yeah, these hoses, I was thinking about putting the wire in them until I was going to, and then I kind of figured, realized that really quickly, if I would have done that, it would have been difficult to get these on. So I'm not putting no wire in them. But it looks like that would be pretty much the right move to do. And it looks like the hose is not hitting anything. And that's pretty much how I got it routed. Coming from back here and going to it. So that's the way I'm going to leave it. It's going on like that. It's attached to the caliper right there. So there's that one. Alright, next step. Okay, this next step. The longer hose that comes off of that connector down below that I attached to the frame, it has a longer hose on it. Alright, you're going to connect this hose to that little peg that's right there on the caliper on the other side. So we're going to have to route it. Basically, it's going to lay over the transmission, and then we're going to attach it to the caliper, which doesn't look like it's going to be easy to do from here. It's going to be a little bit difficult. I think we're going to have to turn this around where I can actually see better the caliper from the front. And we'll route it to the front this way. Alright, so if I bump into the camera a couple times, that's okay. Just like that. So it's okay. So we're going to bring this hose around, and we're going to attach it to the caliper. And again, I'm not left-handed, so this is a little bit difficult for me. So it probably would help if I was left-handed for this part. Okay. Now I'm going to assume, because the fenders are not on yet, okay, so I'm going to assume there's going to be like a little gap or something for the brake lines to go through it, like back here in the back, and the other one is back here too, like this other one. So I'm assuming that once the fenders are on, it'll actually help hold those down, so they're not in the way. But so far, it's looking pretty good. The brake line's attached to the front, so yeah, don't look too bad. Now I'm looking at this and I'm just starting to wonder what's going on with this. It's like that wheel's starting to, I may have to look into that off camera to find out why that's loose like that. I may have to tighten something up in the suspension to stiffen it up a little to where it stands up, because this side doesn't do that. It stands straight, and this one's kind of bowing down. So I'm gonna have to look into that. But anyway, that kind of finishes up this stage. Okay, well that kind of finished up stage 26. It's getting a little bit difficult on some parts of it, like the stage I just did. I knew it was going to take a long time. It took a little while, especially at a little part, and you have to go in really tiny spaces. What I don't understand is that if you got a small part like that, why did they wait until you got the engine and the frame to put that in? Because if you're working on a real car, you know, like if you're doing like a resto mod or something like that, and you're putting brake lines in and stuff, you put all that stuff in before you even put the engine in. But this is a model, but still at the same time, if the engine and it was not in the frame first, it would have been easier to put the brake lines in. But that's how they got you doing it. So yeah, it makes a little bit more difficult. But anyway, it's still fun so far. But even though it was a little hard, you know, I knew it was going to take some time for this. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, I'm not really complaining. I'm just saying it was just a difficult stage. So, yeah. I mean, so far it's looking really good. It's getting bigger. Eventually I'm going to have to get some dust covers for the models, because as the model gets bigger, it's going to get bigger than the box that I stored in to keep dust off of it. And eventually it's just going to have to sit on the shelf, you know, and there won't be no room. I mean, there won't be nothing to keep dust off of it once it's on the shelf. So that'll get really dusty between each stage, and I don't want it to get dusty. So I'm going to have to get some dust covers. So that's a future purchase coming up. So, but, yeah. Alright, I rambled long enough. You got gas again? You know, you still eating them burritos, or did you eat beans this time? Okay. Anyway, I heard that. Okay. Anyway, yeah. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to subscribe, it helps me out a great deal if you do. And if you hit the notification bell, it will let you know when I release new videos, and it will also let YouTube know that you like this kind of content. So I appreciate I'm tongue-tied, I'm sorry. But anyway, yeah, I appreciate everybody watching. I do appreciate all my viewers. You know, y'all are for helping me out and subscribing and things like that. I appreciate it. And yeah. Well, anyway, I'm gonna do a video log about my car after this. I would add it to the video, but if I do, it's gonna make the video a little longer. So look for that. It's basically a part 2 video log about what happened with the car. It's something to do with the transmission. So I will release that video soon after this one. So it'll be a video log, or I might release it before this video, who knows. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. You know, I already said that already. So, until next time. Bye. You got gas again? Bye.